And we are back with Ivan Doroschuk of Men Without Hats. So many people think of you guys as kind of one of the new wave bands. I always kind of thought of it myself personally as a little more synth pop. But how did you guys think of yourself back then?
We thought of ourselves as punk rock with a hit single. That's kind of how we viewed it. And back then, it was always punk new wave. You know, you went to a record store and there was one bin that was punk new wave, and it was all the records that didn't fit into the classic rock. And that's how the stage, you know, the shows were like that, and the clubs too. It was all the punk bands were playing with the new wave bands, and everybody kind of had the same attitude. We kind of dressed differently, stuff like that, but and sounded differently, obviously. But the sort of the attitude was very similar.
You were talking a little about who some of your musical influences. Were there any one or two that you really kind of would always that had influences that would make you periodically kind of reach into your back pocket for as kind of a go-to inspiration, or was it truly a unique, you know, just organic thing from within when you guys were making music?
Well, no, we were fans. I mean, we got into this business because we started off being fans, collecting records and going to rock shows and doing that type of stuff. Brian Ferry was kind of my vocal mentor, and even someone like Lena Lovitch, who was not, you know, too well known, but her vocal sort of stylings I kind of imitated at the beginning. Even like I've often said, like the spelling of the safety dance, the spelling of the words and stuff like that. I was channeling Grandmaster Flash. That's who I was thinking of when I was doing it. I was trying to do kind of a rap thing back then. That was my white boy interpretation of it.
So let's talk about the road to getting signed. We had J.J. French of Twisted Sister on the show a few weeks ago, and his story was both like insane and comical, almost comical, about how it was just so difficult, and then what happened when they finally did get signed. What was that road like for you guys?
We were in studio making our second record when the first one broke. Is basically what happened. We got yanked out of studio and put on into a tour bus, and we toured the world for 2 years promoting the first record. But while we were making our second record, before the first record had broke, we were stoked. We were like, you know, our records had sold. We'd sold records. We had made enough money to make a second one. We were in studio making a second record. It was awesome. We'd made it. So that for us was, you know, it was enough, you know, like, and so that when it did hit, it was just another world. We weren't quite ready for it, I guess.
So let's talk about your mega hit, The Safety Dance. Is it true it kind of came about from you being tossed from a club for pogo dancing?
Yeah, that's how I came to write the song. It was back in the days. It was the dying days of disco. And every now and then, the DJ would throw on Blondie's Heart of Glass or Rock Lobster by the B-52s, and we would jump up and start pogoing, and nobody had quite seen any, you know, nobody knew what pogoing was all about. So we'd invariably have the bouncers come and tell us to either stop or get out. And so that was it. After having that happen a few times, I went home and wrote the song.
So did you guys have any inkling in the studio or otherwise that The Safety Dance was going to be the hit that it became?
Not at all, because we released it in Canada when the first single we put out in Canada was a song called I Got the Message, and Safety Dance was the second single, and I think neither one of them broke the top 10 in Canada. I think that Safety Dance went number 12 in Canada. But there again, like I said before, we were stoked. We had made the top 40, so we were on charts. People knew who we were. We were playing on the radio. It was awesome. It was great. But we had a song. You know, the song was "I Got the Message," and we thought that was the sure single. So, but it wasn't even considered when we got the American deal. That song wasn't even considered. So.
What's funny is I own part of you're in Canada, but I own part of a local minor league hockey team. And it seems like almost every game at some point, during a break in play, or, the safety dance comes on still today, here decades later, and it still resonates with people. It still makes people, it still livens people up even to this day.
Yeah, no, I've been blessed. I've been doubly blessed with Pop Goes the World as well, and it's it's basically why I'm still out there touring today. It's people are still the song's still being played, and Glee, for example, gave us a whole new generation of fans. That sort of really that's that and all the shows like Family Guy and Futurama, The Simpsons, all these things that are in popular culture really are still. That's why we're still out here.
Well, I think it's partially because the songs do have a bit of an iconic nature to them. And you mentioned Pop Goes the World. Tell us a little bit about that. I mean, I can't listen to it without smiling. What's the story behind that song?
Well, the story that song came about in a period where I was going through a lot of personal changes, and the world was going through a lot of changes too. It was the green movement was starting, the women's movement was getting a lot stronger. There was a lot of things were changing in the world, and that was my ecology record. It was the message was, we have to be nice to Mother Earth or she's going to blow up.
When you look back on your career, is there a specific memory that kind of sticks out to you, or one that you kind of go back to often?
Like for now, it's mostly the smile I bring still bringing on people's faces. I feel like sometimes I feel the song, especially Safety Dance, is a lot larger than I am, a lot bigger than I am, and I feel like a museum curator going around and presenting an artifact to people. But I'm blessed that it's still giving a lot
dust
of
it
joy.
off.
That's it. But I brings me great joy to perform it. People ask me that a lot too. How do you feel like singing that same song after all these years? And I love it. I love performing it. I love performing basically. So that's why we're still on the road as well.
So Ivan, let's talk about what you guys are up to these days. If I'm not mistaken, you've kind of fulfilled quite a bit of your bucket list with some of the artists you've been playing with for the past 10 years. I know Howard Jones was one of them because I actually saw you guys with Howard Jones in Biloxi a few years ago.
Wow, cool.
At the IP, and that's kind of the reasons why I ask. Have you been able to have you been playing with a lot of people that you've really, really kind of admired and wanted to play with for a while?
Absolutely. One of the first tours I did when we put this back together just over 10 years ago now is that we did a tour with the B-52s and Human League, which were two of the bands that were the reason I'm doing this, bands I listened to and turned me on to new wave bands. B-52s were the reasons I got kicked out of the club and wrote the Safety Dance. So to be able to tour with them was just amazing, and just all the way down the line, everybody's been great too. All the people that I've been touring with are just everybody's just happy. Just there's no pressure anymore. We're not competing against each other. Our job is done, and we're just trying to make people happy now.
So do you have any projects on the way that our viewers should keep an eye out for?
We have a new record coming out. It's called Men Without Hats Again, Parts 1 and 2. And its first single should drop this summer.
You know what? One of the things I wanted to ask you earlier, but we started talking about something else, was the name Men Without Hats. A lot of people wonder about that, and I had heard that it came about, and I just want to see if that's true. Did it come about from the fact that you and your brothers just up in the cold in Canada just didn't want to wear hats for fashionable purposes?
Yeah, real men don't wear toques, they say.
So, where should our audience go to follow you and what's going on with the band?
They can go to our Facebook page. There's a Man Without Hats and an Ivan Facebook page. There's an Instagram page, and there's safetydance.com.
I really appreciate you being on, Ivan. Ladies and gentlemen, Ivan Doroschuk from Men Without Hats.
Nice talking to you.